I think, what was it? Yeah, so the Khaiza has finished, like, all of the Tekken 7, like, story mode, including the, main camp, including the, extra, like, story mode, right? As far as I would, like, rank it, right? Like, this is, like, I don't think Tekken, no, Tekken 6 definitely had that as, like, a cinematic, like, story mode. But it was only focusing on like Lars and Alyssa, and it played like a fucking what was it, the Tekken Force mode, where you are like in like a different like camera angle and you beat on dudes. So it was kind of like a what was it, a JRPG in a way. You start from the bottom, then you build yourself up with like EXP, fight the boss, and that's it. In here it's just like, in here they got rid of the Tekken Force mode and replaced it with like fight after like fight, kind of like an NRS situation, right? I always tout that like Tekken 7's like story mode is kind of like OD, right? Like it's really like good. But now that I think about like the sequences that happen, I think, okay, the only like main flaw about like the Tekken story mode is the useless ass reporter. I do not like, you know, the reporter just like recounting or like, you know, or like, what was it, jotting down like the events of Tekken 7 up to like, you know, currently Tekken 7. I hope that shit goes away in Tekken 8. But outside of like the reporter battles, I did like, you know, the nostalgia factor for Tekken 7. Had like these like cool clips of old Tekken games, like Tekken 1, like Tekken 1 and Tekken 2. And of course there's like Tekken 4-ish. Yeah, Tekken 4. So I really like dug that about it. Gave it a little bit of like hype, as like, you know, some like hits of like lore. But I did like the engagements of the well, not for most of like the story, right? Because, you know, some like fights, it's like a fighting game, right? And Tekken is, you know, if you go through like a traditional ass like arcade ladder, you play like, let's say Alyssa and fights like Panda, and Alyssa doesn't understand Panda's like language. Well, no, Tekken does understand it. What am I saying? But it will be like the most silliest of like rival of cutscenes. It's like Panda's like got like some of her like lithium particle accelerator batteries, and Alyssa fights Panda to take it back from her. Some shit like that. Of course, there are some like silly like moments in Tekken with like Lars, Alyssa, and Li Xiaolong, right? Some moments in some like degree, but what it mostly like just boils down to is like the blood vengeance between Heihachi and Kazuya. And there's like a story reason for that, is because of Heihachi's wife, Kazumi, and she was like, she kind of had like the devil gene in her. So when she made Kazuya, like, you know, gave birth to Kazuya inherited his mother's genes, and so he became like, you know, a devil. So Heihachi has to like root out the evil from his like family, killing his wife and throwing his son like off a cliff until ultimately Kazuya comes back. And of course there was like the story reason for like Akuma, which is like, usually when you have like a guest character, it makes no sense, right? Because like, how does like a Street Fighter character like Akuma fit into Tekken 7? Write it down, or just like jot it down, whatever, it makes sense, you know, to the writers. But like, I think I like this like Tekken because of like, you know, there's like a clear to like action, right? And there are like some levels of QTEs in there, right? When you're doing like rage art buttons and the fights like happen like instantaneously, like one after another. There's no like a few seconds or like a minute of like dialogue between each fight, like a NRS type of like game. No, it's just straight to the battle. That's where like the heart, that's where like the heat of moment lies, is in the heart of battle. I would still say like MKX is like a good like, if we were talking about like in a grand echelon of like, you know, fighting game like cinematic story modes, I would still say MKX is like up there. Tekken 7's is kind of like a third, and MK1's is like second. Right, if we're like trying to, you know, gather all of the fighting game like story modes outside of NRS, right? Because there's Capcom ones, there's Bandai Namco ones, there's, I don't think no, SNK didn't do like cinematic story modes. No, they didn't do that. Well, Smash Brothers had that. Yeah, Smash Brothers had that. I don't know where I'd like rank it though. I guess like 5th? Yeah, because like Smash Brothers Brawl had like the Subspace Emissary, and even though Smash Ultimate had like a story mode, but it was really much, you know, not the same credentials and the hypeness that was, you know, the Subspace Emissary, right? The Subspace Emissary was really like a goated fucking like story mode because of the score, because characters don't really like, you know, talk a lot because they're Nintendo characters, but you can definitely tell like the actions, right? And you can definitely feel like hype for like a story mode, you know? And ultimately the big bad of Brawls was like fucking Taboo, right? This like evil Waluigi ass looking motherfucker that turns everybody into like trophies. I would put like, damn, that would be fun if we could do like a Smash Brothers Brawl story mode. How hype would that be, right? But that would be like later on. Yeah, mainly we did like this story mode because to hype up Tekken 8 story mode, right? So that was right, so that was like the whole purpose, and it definitely lived it up, right? It's still like a good story mode. It could definitely be like polished here and there, right? Definitely a little bit more engaging with like, you know, the moments of Tekken. I would give like this like story mode a 7. So I'm trying to like think of everything, and the reporter just like brings it down. If it took down the reporter shit, then it would have been like an 8.